Hey everyone, this is Rich with Project F30, and today we're going to be doing something that honestly, I was scared to death to do when I first got my Beamer, but it is one of the cheapest and most fun things that you can do. Today I'm going to give you a short tutorial on how to do some FDL coding to your Beamer. To do coding to your Beamer, there is a couple things that you're going to need. One, on Amazon, there is something called an Ethernet cable. It's an Ethernet cable on one side, and then the other side connects to your OBD port. And that costs about 13 bucks. You can find it on Amazon, and they're really easy to get. There's some people that make them. Just buy the $13 cable. It just makes sense, right? Two, you'll need a laptop, which you'll see mine in just a second. And three, of course, you'll need your car. So coding is a great way for you to be able to unlock features that were not initially available on your car, or to change some parameters. For instance, I hate the double unlock, the double pump on the handle to unlock the door. I know some people like it as a safety feature. I can't stand it. So I have actually coded my car to where when I cut the ignition off, all of the doors unlock. So I don't have to deal with that double pump stuff, right? What if I told you that the sport transmission that are on your sport lines, your M Sports, things like that, what if I told you that you can unlock that coding for free just by hooking an Ethernet cable up to your car and learning how to do some system stuff? It kind of blew my mind. So my transmission hits harder. It feels really super sporty. It takes away that like overly smoothness, which is, you know, some people actually like that. I don't, but what I'm saying is stuff like that. My car didn't initially come with the enhanced Bluetooth where I can stream from my phone like music and stuff like that. I now have that, and that was functionality that was initially set on my car, not for me to be able to use. So, you know, you could do a lot of cool stuff. Today, I'm going to unlock a couple of things for you guys that I haven't done before. Our BMWs have a speedometer correction to where it reads that you're like 2 miles per hour under whatever that cruise control thing is set, and then supposedly there's a corrective code that is on all BMWs. Some people absolutely hate it. I hate it. I want to turn it off. And then two, in the Combi, I want to be able to look at my gauges and have a readout, a digital readout of the miles per hour that I'm, you know, going at. Don't get me wrong. I know how to read analog gauges, but it is sometimes kind of cool to just glance down and say, oh, I'm going 85 miles an hour. Makes a lot of sense. So I want to take some time to show you these features and the process in coding, because a lot of people might have some other things that you want to do to your car. In the description, I'm going to put a link to the list that I use, and it's kind of a cheat sheet that shows the folders that you're going to be going into, what the function actually is, and then what the function defaults to, and then what you're going to be changing it to. Now, what I'll say is, you want to make sure that you have the car with the power, the accessory power on, and make sure that you've buckled the seatbelt, whether you're sitting in and you buckle yourself in, or whether you sitting in and you're basically laying onto the seatbelt so that you're not strapped in. But what that does is it helps the car not go to sleep, because if it goes to sleep in the middle of coding, you can really screw up some stuff, because as you're flashing and as you're making changes, if the process is not finished, something can be coded incorrectly and the car will not function correctly, because you're messing with all of these little computer parameters. You don't want the car to go to sleep. You don't want the laptop to die. So you need to make sure that your laptop's fully charged, or that you have a power source. I know a lot of people that will sit in their garage and hook up the laptop to power. You want to make sure that you're using the least amount of power whatsoever. So if you're in a hot climate, don't do it on a hot day, because you're going to want to roll down your windows, get some airflow in the car, and use as little power as possible, because all of that power you want to be able to use, especially if you've got a lengthy coding session and you're coding multiple things. So just be mindful of that. Also, it's a really good idea to print out the cheat sheet, because you can flip through these things without having to worry about, you know, the things that you're looking for. Like you see right here, it actually will have the module that you're coding, and then the section, and then what it is that you're messing with, and then the values, and then the default. So I highlight when I'm coding the things that I want to move, so that I know what to expect. And I have one of these, I have one of these handy because I don't want to be flipping back and forth on my phone. I don't want to be having to waste time while I'm in my coding session. So having one of these handy is really, really nice, because you can plan out your coding session and get through it fairly quickly. Each function will probably take you about 3 to 5 minutes, so it's not really cumbersome. But if you're doing a bunch in a row, then you want to make sure that they're planned out and you're not wasting time. The program that we're using is called E-Sys, and there's a few things that you're going to need to download before you even get started. I'll put those 3 things in the description, so I'll put some links to those to where you can get a free download, and then it's got all of the instructions on how to install and where to install, and basically how to get you started. So it's not a really complicated process. It's just very time consuming, because you've got to make sure that all of the folders are in the right place. You've got to make sure that the program is up and running, and it requires a token to where there is what they call an E-Sys Launcher. And basically what that does is it creates a little code to where you can use the program, right? And you want to make sure that all of that, you follow those directions very, very precisely, so that you don't have any mishaps or mistakes while you're coding. If all the folders aren't set up correctly, then your car could be coded incorrectly. If you miss a step, your car will be coded incorrectly. And it's not something like a component, like I'm working on a downpipe. I know if something went wrong because I can say, oh, well, this doesn't fit correctly, and I can just pull this off. It's a change in a computer program, and our computers in our BMWs are very complex. So you want to make sure that you're following all the directions. I have watched video upon video upon video just to make sure that I understand completely the steps that I need to code my car, because I don't want to do anything out of order and mess it up, right? It's sometimes a little crazy and stressful, but the reward that you get out of it will be amazing. So follow directions, make sure that you take your time, and then you'll be just fine, and this isn't going to be an issue for you at all. The first thing that you're going to do is make sure that you hook up the little Ethernet cable to your laptop and hook it up to your car. It goes in the OBD port on the driver's side next to your dead pedal, and then make sure that you've got that hooked up. I have a JB4, so I had to take the dongle out from the OBD port so that I can plug this in. It won't harm anything. You just got to make sure that you put it back in after you're done. Okay. Now this is opened up, and I'm getting a little bit ahead because you've got to go through the token process, and then this screen will launch. And then there's some setup stuff that will be in the instructions when you set that up. So I'll put that link in the description so that you can check that out. But this is just for form and function only. Once you open E-Sys, before you have even connected the car, you'll notice that there is a little connection button right here, okay? And you're going to click on that. The cable is going to read it, and it might take a second. Okay, this is the next screen that pops up, and you'll notice there's a bunch of values here. It's not going to sound really cool, and it's going to sound just slightly confusing, but for my car, which is an F30, we're actually going to select F020, don't ask me why, and definitely don't select the direct piece. I don't know what'll happen if you do, but that's not something that you want to do. If you've noticed, my VIN actually has filled in here, but you're going to want to click that radio button that says connection via VIN. It automatically loaded itself. And then, of course, this radio button you're going to leave alone. And in order to get the car connected, you're going to hit the button connect. It's going to take a few minutes and make a connection to the car. Simple little box will pop up. It says connection established. I never uncheck that little box because I always want to know that the connection has been made. Click OK. Now you're going to come over here, and it's defaulted to comfort mode. And over on the left hand side, you're going to see a little piece that says export mode. Click on it. It's going to open up some stuff for you here. And we're going to go into, go figure, coding. It's going to read. And now you're going to see a whole bunch of little buttons that pop up. Now, in order to scan your car to read what you have currently, you're going to go over to vehicle order, click on read, and this piece right here is going to pop up. Don't mess with it. You're going to do read FA over here, and then read SVT on the right side of the screen. And now you're going to see this populate, and these are all of the different folders and functions that your car has. Weirdly, I've already got some CAFD spots right here, and that just shows that I've coded some things in there before, so just kind of ignore that. But the first thing that you want to do on both of these spots, for FA, hit a save as, and you are going to create yourself a file. Sorry, I'm kind of doing this with one hand. But basically, I did something that I can find, and this is my backup file because if I screw anything up, I can go back to this file and upload it so that my car will function correctly as it did before I started coding. So make sure that you do that for the FA. And then again, for SVT. All right, now that that's saved, you can start getting into your coding. Okay, now based off of the cheat sheet, you've got little folders, ACSM, ASD. I'm messing with the combi gauges, the instrument gauges, and so that's the folder that I'm going to be looking under. And you're going to look for a file that says CAFD right here. Right click on it, and you want to read coding data. And basically you're going to see a box that pops up. It's going to take a second, and it's just going to make sure that everything reads okay and there are no errors to start. Click on close, and now we can start our process. If you notice, that little green box turned into a folder, so now I can actually expand this and come to a value down here so that I can see what is actually in this file. Okay, so right here I'll be able to click on Edit FDL. Once you click Edit FDL, it's going to bring you to a different page here. Now, I have a cheat sheet which gives me the folders that I'm supposed to look under, and the folder that I'm actually supposed to look under is this one that says 3000, and I'm going to go into that. You can use the search field if you have something that's a little kind of off the wall, and just click a folder that you're searching for so that you can find the parameter that you're looking for. If you already know what you're looking for, like I know I'm looking for number 3000, I can pop that open and I'll see some folders here, okay? And I'll be able to open function because this is what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the actual function of the car, and you'll see all of these different folders, and you're going to look for the one that you need. Now I'm actually looking for the corrector right here, because that is the folder that contains the value for the speedometer change. Then it's going to have that extra folder, and you'll pop it open, and it says that it's active. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to select that here based off of the cheat sheet, and I'm going to click on edit, and you see it's a little drop down, and I'm going to knock it out to NICT active, not active, and this value is the same. Now there are some values that you will need to change, but for this one specific, you do not have to change it at all. You could do multiple functions at one time, so I've already made that change. The other one is actually in the same menu, and that's why I wanted to show you at the same time. This BC Digital V, this is going to add the speedometer to the functions that you control with the BC button, right? I'm going to click that open based off the cheat sheet, and it says it's not active. I'm going to right click on edit, and I'll be able to flip that value to active. I definitely suggest doing this, in groups of folders, which you'll see on the cheat sheet. If you've got a group of things that you want to do them all while you're in the same folder and stop and not hop around. It makes your job a heck of a lot easier. Once you're finished in the folder that you're working on, just like your browser, you can click back here to the back button, and it says there's still an open module. Should this be saved? Yes. And that saves it so that everything can be finalized. It's going to take a second. Okay, after you've done everything in the folder that you were going to work on, then your next step is to come back up here to the FA file, right click, and click on Activate FA. You'll see a little box that shows a progress piece, and it's basically getting everything started and unlocked for you to code it completely. Nothing has been saved yet. Now you'll actually see up here the same spot where it says FA active. You're going to make sure that the folder that you were coding is opened up. You've selected the CAFD file, and then you've selected the file inside that folder that you coded. And then on the right side over here, you're going to code FDL. Again, there's a progress box. It's going to say TAL execution started, and that means it's coding. You may or may not hear some dings or some things that are going through your car, because it's basically resetting everything and flashing the car. And now, once everything is finished here, and it'll say finalized or finished status, I'm going to close that out, and then it just shows that that has been coded. In green, it means that it was done successfully. If it shows up in red, we've got a problem. So we're all good here, and your car is coded. We're going to close this out. Now, if there are other functions that you're looking to do, of course, you've got the menu here. It goes on for days, and you can code several functions at once before you actually have to hit code FDL, but you'll be able to look at those functions as needed. Now, once you've finished up with everything and you're done coding for the day, make sure that before you disconnect any cords that you're going to click on this disconnect button. And it's going to say close connection. Of course, the answer is yes. And now it's safe to disconnect any cables. You aren't going to be able to see the speedometer correction, but what you can see from what we've coded is that all my stuff has cleared out since I coded the instrument gauge. But now I have this, where I have a digital readout for my miles per hour. And that's it. A couple changes, pretty simple, something that you can do in 20-30 minutes or something like that, and unlock some cool functions on the car. So one thing that I encourage you to do is take a look through that cheat list and make some selections and find out what you want to do. Start with something simple, try one code out and see if if you can do it correctly. And remember that you could always go back to that saved backup that you had previously. Sorry, bottom's kind of dropped out here, but I wanted to make sure that I got a good example for you in. This is a really cool feature or thing that we have available to our cars, and for anybody who's a gearhead and wants to make changes and make it your own, this is the perfect way to do it. So check out E-Sys and check out the coding forums on beamerpost.com. Do some research and some reading and see if it's something that's for you. If you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you about my coding experience and about the things that I've actually coded, and be able to offer some insight to you, and maybe you can find some things that make sense for you. Anyways, again, this is Rich from Project F30. Please follow me on Instagram and on YouTube. And I'm really excited to have your support. Please follow me for any additional DIYs or videos for modding our BMWs. It's what brings us together, and it's a lot of fun anyway. So I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks.